Hi Prof, we're here in Death Valley with my geobiology class on a field trip, and I'm going to do an interview with an alum prof for you. So this is Professor Kirscvink, and so if you want to tell us what house you were in and what you majored in and what your current research is on now.
Oh, sure, Lori. I was an undergraduate in geology, and actually, to be honest, I was an undergraduate in biology and double majored in geology. And then I discovered that it was easy enough to get a master's in geology as well as the undergraduate in biology. So I did that between 1971 and 1975. I then exploited the opportunity that Caltech offers to apply for a Watson Foundation Fellowship and spent a year and a half traveling the world looking at the Cambrian evolutionary explosion. I rejoined the faculty in 1981. I've been here as a professor of geobiology of various sorts ever since.
Cool. So maybe you want to tell us a little bit about your snowball Earth theory.
We're standing on it. No. I had a surf student in 1987 do a little project that was aimed to see what the latitude of a series of late Precambrian glaciations was. And it turns out by studying the magnetism in the rocks, we can determine what the latitude was when they formed. And you can also see if it works or not, and so forth. Well, it turned out we ended up with evidence that one of the late Precambrian glacial units in Australia was actually on the equator at the time it formed. It's actually the first definitive test anybody had that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that this widespread glacial event was on the equator. The problem is, if the glaciers are on the equator, it means it's freezing there, and it has to be colder the further away from the equator you get. And that kind of implies the entire planet must have been covered with ice. And then when we looked at it a little bit closer, it turns out we could explain a hell of a lot of stuff about planet Earth if the damn thing had actually frozen. So I call it the snowball, and that little intellectual haul has been gaining gas ever since.
Great. Okay, so last question. What was your favorite Caltech memory as an undergrad?
By far was field trips with the faculty, particularly mapping up in the Tuolumne Meadows section of the Sierras with two of my professors, Arden Albee and Clarence Allen.
Great.
2 weeks hiking and climbing up in the Sierras and getting credit for it.
Nice. Which is what we're doing right now. As you can see, we're on sort of the top of a mountain here. Okay, well, thanks, Joe.